Mubarak for you is my prayer. May you keep ascending success. Stay Mubarak for you is my prayer. May you keep ascending success. Stay.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله. Our beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said that a person who sends 1,000 times daily durood or salutations or salawat upon me, he will not die till he sees his place in Jannah. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Salatam wa salaman alayka ya Sayyidi ya Rasulullah. Dearest Islamic brothers, as you know that month of Shaban is continuing, and soon we will enter into the month of Ramadan al-Mubarak. These are seasons to reconnect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and disconnect from shaitan. It is time that we must realize who is our friend and who is our enemy. And we must know with whom shaitan is happy and with whom shaitan is not happy. So we can draw a line and say to ourselves that I don't want to be that person with whom shaitan is happy. I want to be that person with whom Allah and His Rasul is happy. So we must have knowledge of that. First of all, we must know that there are 4 major enemies of human being, and we must never be careless about these 4 enemies. That's generally every human being must face. Hazrat Faqih Abul Lays Samarqandi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has mentioned about these 4 enemies of human being, and he said that always be ready to fight with them. And number 1 enemy is dunya. Dunya, this world, which means that the attractions that we find in this dunya, which make us forget the akhirah, which make us negligent or neglectful about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that dunya is the biggest enemy of human being. So you need to fight back. Enemy is there to destroy you. So if you're not going to fight back, then the enemy will destroy you. And the second enemy, which is identified in the light of Quran and Sunnah, is your nafs, your carnal desires, तुम्हारी ख्वाहिशात, शहवतें. That is the enemy of human being. Because people fail because of their lust, because of their desires. नफसानी ख्वाहिशात की वजह से लोग नाकाम हो जाते हैं. So we need to fight that. That's why when once Sahaba Ikram came back from jihad, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that you have come back from jihad asghar, small jihad, and now be ready for jihad akbar. That is the biggest jihad. So Sahaba Ikram asked, Ya Rasulullah, which is biggest jihad? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded that biggest jihad is to fight with your own nafs, with your own desires, because your desires are standing ready to destroy you, to make you a zalim, to make you an unfair person, to make you a rebellious sinner. So fight your nafs. And the third enemy which is identified in the light of Quran and Sunnah is your enemy, Shaitanul Jinn. Shaitan from the side of Jinn family. Because the Jinn, the Shaitan, puts whispers in your mind, in your heart. कि दिल और दिमाग में वो जिन्नों में से जो शैतान है ना, वो वसवसे डालता रहता है. Keeps on putting, whispering in your minds, in your head, and keeps motivating you to do the wrong things. So that is your enemy from the side of jinns. And the fourth enemy which is identified, that is shaitan from human beings. There are shaitans from jinns and there are shaitans from human beings. It's mentioned in Quran Kareem. الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ. The one who put whispers in the hearts of the people, and they are from jinns and from humans. So shaitan is not only from jinns, shaitan is also from human beings. So the fourth enemy of human being is shaitan from human being. And that shaitan sits with you. He stands with you. He eats with you. He does business with you. He is your companion. He is your friend. He attends your weddings and your parties. You attend his weddings and his parties. He travels with you. And you call him, he's my very good friend. But he makes you ghafil of the akhirah. He puts ideas in your mind to earn haram risk. He will stand with you when you are wrong. He will support you in your sins. He will never tell you that you are wrong. He will never advise you, make tawbah. He'll never tell you, read namaz. He'll never give you an idea of preparation of akhirah. So who's he? He's the enemy, but a shaitan from human beings. And a lot of us have friends like these shaitans that are mentioned in the books of scholars. They are our friends, but they are shaitans. So as long as we get some worldly benefits from them, we feel, no, he's fine, he's good. And shaitan has 15 enemies. How many? 15 enemies. So when we're going to read the list, and you must know that if you are one of them, feel happy that you are the enemy of shaitan. One day, shaitan came in the holy court of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm here So you can ask me any question that you want to ask me. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him two questions. One is, who's your enemy and who's your friend? And this is for us to know. So we must not become his friends, rather we become his enemies. Now Shaitan said, Ya Rasulullah, my number one enemy is you. He says to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Ya Rasulullah, you are my biggest enemy. Because I plan and I plot things, but your teachings destroy everything. Your barakat, your beneficence, your fairs, the love that people have for you. You read verses of the Quran, you tell them ahadith, you give them warnings. So you my biggest enemy. Who he says to? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now you can't become Rasul of Allah, but at least you can become a true servant of Rasul of Allah. To show Shaitan that if my Nabi is your enemy, then I'm also your enemy. The second person which Shaitan told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he is my enemy, and that is a just king who is believer. Momin, insaf karne wala, hukmran, the ruler who is a believer, and he is munsif, he is just. He says he is my enemy. So, which means that if you are given any position of authority, whether you are the ruler of the government, or you are a minister, or director, or manager of any company, or principal of any school, or any mudir or nazim of Darul Uloom Jamiat, or anything, or principal of madrasa, or head of family, you are hukmaran. You are required to do justice. You are required to be fair. You are required to be unbiased. So if you are like that, you are enemy of Shaitan. But if you do favors favorable for this one and doing, injustice to the other one, then Shaitan is very happy with you. You become the friend of Shaitan. So you as a father in your house, you are ruler. Your children, your wife, your whole family is under your rule. So you need to make sure that you are just. You are munsif. तुम इंसाफ के साथ काम लेते हो, सारे बच्चों के साथ बराबर का सलूक करते हो. And number 3, Shaitan said, my enemy is that rich believer who's humble. वो अमीर शख्स जो मुतवाज़े है, आजिज है, वो मेरा दुश्मन है. Because he wants, when person becomes rich, he must not be humble. He must not be ajiz. He must not be munkasirul mizaj. He must be arrogant. But he says, he got money, he had all the reason to be arrogant, but he's not arrogant. He's humble, so he's my enemy. So, if you have money, you wealthy, and you are ajiz, you are humble, you must know that Shaitan doesn't like you, because you became his enemy. So when Shaitan doesn't like you, he'll put you in trouble. So be ready for that. A lot of people give up very soon. And number 4, he said, my enemy is truthful businessman. Businessman who speaks truth, who does not lie. He says that person is my enemy, because most business people, they speak lie. So now when you are sitting in the marketplace, you have a factory, you have a shop, you have wholesale, or you are an agent of buying and selling properties, other packages of traveling, this, that, because all these are businesses. You need to be truthful. Whatever it is, tell the person. If you are truthful businessman and you are a believer, you must know that you are dushman of shaitan. You are enemy of shaitan. He hates you. He doesn't like you. So now, since you know who are the enemies of shaitan, so try to be one of them. In whichever field you are, there's an opportunity for you. If you are in the field of business, there's an opportunity for you. If you are a hukmaran, manager, director, ruler, there's an opportunity for you. And if you are an alim, there's opportunity for you. Because point number 5 is that an alim who reads his namaz with khushu and khuzu is the enemy of shaitan. His whole concentration, tawajjuh is in namaz. He's alim. So the Sufiya Ikram, they're very wise people, the pious elders, they have identified. That means it's very hard for an alim to read namaz with khushu and khuzu. Maybe his mind is occupied in too many other things. Many alims who are captured by jealousy, many alims who are captured by arrogance, pride, takabbur. Many alims, they are caught by riya, show off. तो जब ये सूरतें होंगी तो खुशू खुजू के साथ नमाज कैसे पढ़ेगा? So the pious people have identified in the light of Quran and Sunnah. They said an alim who performs his salat with khushu and khuzu, with full concentration and fear of Allah, he's the enemy of shaitan. तो सबके लिए कोई ना कोई मौका आ रहा है. किसी ना किसी फील्ड में आप हैं तो शैतान का दुश्मन बन सकते हैं. Number 6, Shaitan says, my enemy is a believer who is khair kha, who's well-wisher of others. जो मोमिनीन के साथ खैर खाही करता है, जो मुसलमान, वो मेरा दुश्मन है. So if you are well-wisher of other Muslims, you are khair kha of other Muslims, you take care of them, you worry about them, you worry about their conditions. Not only poverty only, if your Muslim nation don't have correct knowledge, you worried about it, you help them. If they don't know how to make ghusl and wuzu properly, you worried about them, you try to help them. If they don't know how to read Quran properly, you worry about them, you try to help them. If they don't know how to perform salat properly, you worry about them, you try to help them. If they don't come to masjid, you worry about them. You go and knock at their doors, you invite them, come fill up the masjid. You are a khair kha of other Muslims. You are a well-wisher of other Muslims. लोग ये समझते हैं बस खैर खा होने का मतलब यही है बस खाना खिला दो. अरे और कितनी चीजें हैं जिनमें आप खैर खाई कर सकते हैं और मुसलमानों को फायदा पहुंचा सकते हैं. There are too many things in which you can help Muslims and improve their lives. तो ऐसा बंदा शैतान को पसंद नहीं है. Maybe you can be a muballigh of Dawat Islami and go house to house and give Dawat of Islam and invite people, come for the masjid, come read namaz with Jama'at. So you become a believer who's khair kha of other believers. Shaitan says, another enemy of mine is a believer who's merciful. वो रहम करने वाला जो मुसलमान है ना, वो मुझे पसंद नहीं है, वो मेरा दुश्मन है. I hate it. So if Allah has given you that heart, merciful heart, affectionate, you feel pity for people, you have mercy for people, you have mercy for the creation of Allah, you are the enemy of shaitan. So now you need to choose whether you want to be the enemy of shaitan or friend of shaitan. So those who are stone-hearted, those who are hard-hearted, they must think, जिनके दिल में रहम नहीं आता, जिनके दिल में तरस नहीं आता, वो सोचें कि हम किस कैटेगरी में हैं, हम शैतान के दुश्मन हैं या शैतान के दोस्त हैं. And he says, another enemy of mine is the one who makes tawbah and he stands firm on his tawbah. If a person makes tawbah and breaks his tawbah, shaitan says he's my friend. But my dushman, my enemy is that moment, that Muslim who makes tawbah and he stands firm, he doesn't change. And then he says, number 9, my enemy is that believer who refrains from haram, who's not interested in haram. He's always careful about halal and haram. He always tries to find out first, is it halal or is it haram? He reads authentic books to understand what is halal, what is haram. He consults with ulama, with the muftis, with Darul Ifta, with people of knowledge. He says, I want to know, is this halal or is this haram? So if he finds that this is haram, he refrains from it, he stays away from it. Shaitan says, he's my enemy. How many of our Muslims today ask from ulama, is this halal or is this haram? Hardly people ask this question. Maulana, Shaykh, Mufti, I want to do this. Is this halal or is this haram? Not a lot of people. But there are enemies of shaitan who make sure that they want to find out first. And if they found out that it's haram, they refrain from it. They stay away from it. So shaitan is not happy with them. And number 10, shaitan counted my enemy is that believer who stays in the state of wudu most of the time. जो हमेशा वुजू में रहता है, अक्सर वुजू में रहता है. He breaks his wuzu, he comes back, he makes wudu again. So he doesn't only make wuzu for salat, but he stays in wudu all the time. Even before he goes to sleep, he makes wudu and then he sleeps. Shaitan says, he's my enemy. And number 11, he counted as his enemy. He said, a believer who gives charity, who gives sadaqah, is my enemy. वो मुसलमान जो सदका देता है, शैतान कहता है वो मेरा दुश्मन है. That's why we always keep encouraging you, give sadqa, give sadqa, give sadqa. We always tell you, take that tin of Dawat Islami, keep in your house, keep in your shop. So it keeps reminding you, so you keep on putting 5 rand, 10 rand, 20 rand, छोटा छोटा पैसा रोजाना कुछ ना कुछ डालते रहो. So शैतान के दुश्मन बने रहो. Don't become his enemies. So he wants to destroy you, and we are the servants of Deen. We give you weapons to fight back to shaitan. सामने रहेगा, कुछ ना कुछ डालोगे ना, तो वो सदका होता रहेगा. शैतान को पसंद नहीं है. So be enemy of shaitan. And then he says, number 12, he says, my enemy is a believer who has good character. जिसका अखलाक अच्छा हो, शैतान कहता है वो मुसलमान मेरा दुश्मन है. He doesn't insult people, he doesn't swear people, he does not use vulgar language, he does not threaten other Muslims, he does not act as gangster, as bully to other people. He is always peaceful, calm, loving, welcoming. ये अखलाक है ना मुसलमान का. He says if his akhlaq is good, then I take him as my enemy. Now you have to check yourself. Are you the enemy of shaitan or you the friend of shaitan? आपके अखलाक कैसे हैं? अखलाक अच्छे हैं? लोगों की खींचतें करना, लोगों की चुगलियां करना, गालियां देना, उनके बारे में बुरा सोचना, उनको जज करना, ये क्या अच्छे अखलाक हैं? So if you have these diseases, then you must know that Shaitan is friend with you. But if you want the enmity and animosity and dushmani of Shaitan, then you need to have good character and good akhlaq. And alhamdulillah, Dawat Islami works very hard to develop that character amongst Muslims. Dawat Islami का काम ही यही है कि मुसलमानों में अच्छे अखलाक पैदा करना. तो ये मुसलमानों को दावत इस्लामी तैयार कर रही है कि शैतान के दुश्मन बन जाओ, अल्लाह और उसके रसूल के दुश्मन न बनो. And number 13, शैतान said that my enemy is that believer who is beneficial to other people. जो दूसरे लोगों को नफा देने वाला मुसलमान है ना, शैतान ने कहा ये मेरा दुश्मन है. Because if he is beneficial, ये फायदामंद है मुसलमानों के लिए, तो ये तो बख्शा जाएगा. It is not to let anybody go to Jannat. My target is to push everyone into Jahannam. ये तो मेरा दुश्मन निकला, ये तो लोगों को फायदा देता है, पहुंचाता है उनको फायदे, उनके मसले हल करता है, फंसे हुओं को निकालता है, जिसका बिजनेस नहीं चल रहा उसको मदद दे रहा है, किसी की बेटी की शादी का मसला है उसको मदद दे रहा है, किसी को लीगल एड चाहिए, लॉयर चाहिए, कोई फंसा हुआ है खामखा बेकसूर, तो थाने में उसको निकाल के ले आता है. ये हर तरह लोगों को फायदा पहुंचाता फिर रहा है. शैतान कहता है ये मेरा दुश्मन है. अब आप खुद सोच लें कि जब ये दुश्मन है तो फिर अल्लाह का दोस्त कैसे होना चाहिए. ये शैतान का दुश्मन है, जो शैतान का दुश्मन है वही तो अल्लाह का दोस्त है. तो फिर हमें मुसलमानों को फायदा देने वाला होना चाहिए, इंसानों को फायदा पहुंचाने वाला होना चाहिए. And number 14, शैतान says that lover reader of Quran who always keeps reading Quran without missing is my enemy. वो जिसको आदत होती है ना रोजाना कुरान पढ़ते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ हिस्सा मंजिल तय कर रखी है, मैं रोजाना सिपारा पढ़ूंगा, 2 सिपारे पढ़ूंगा, 5 सिपारे पढ़ूंगा, तो ये इसको कहते हैं हामिले कुरान. कुरान को उठाने वाला है, ये अपने साथ कुरान लिए हुए है. तो ये जो रोजाना पढ़ने वाले हैं ना, शैतान इनका दुश्मन है और ये शैतान के दुश्मन है. कि शैतान रोकता है कुरान पढ़ने से और ये शैतान की नहीं सुनता, ये पढ़ता है. तो शैतान कहता है ये इसने हमारे नबी पाक से बात कही है कि ये मेरा दुश्मन है. नाउ द सीजन रमजान, कुरान, अभी आदत बना लो, रमजान में इतना कुरान पढ़ो कि साल भर कुरान पढ़ने की आदत पड़ जाए. तरावी में तो सुनते ही हैं खुशकिस्मत, लेकिन कुछ सीजनल भी होते हैं, 1-2 रातें सुनते हैं, फिर भाग जाते हैं, फिर 27 नाइट को आते हैं, बड़ी रात को. Don't be like them. Be a regular person who comes and reads Taraweeh and listen to Quran, and be a regular person to read Quran on regular basis. And a person who stands up in the night when other people are sleeping and he reads namaz. And who are these people? These are those who read tahajjud, because that's a time when your beauty sleep overpowers you. Everyone wants to sleep. उस वक्त नींद बड़ी अच्छी आती है तहज्जुद के वक्त पे. But person stands up and he worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ये अल्लाह की इबादत करता है. तो शैतान कहता है ये मेरा दुश्मन है. तो शैतान के दुश्मन बनना है या दोस्त बनना है? समझ आ रही है ना बात? You want to be enemy of shaitan or friend of shaitan? Enemy. So it's a very good time. तो हमने अब ये महीने हैं ना अपने आप को पावरफुल करने के, तो ऐसा पावरफुल करें कि शैतान की कमर तोड़ दे. अल्लाह हमको अमल की तौफीक अता फरमाए. सल्लु अलल हबीब सल्लल्लाहु तआला अला मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम.
For you is my prayer. May you keep ascending success stair. O Mubarak, for you is my prayer. May you keep ascending success. Stay